try something a little bit different, guys. We're not going to put the chat on the screen, so keep your comments X-rated only, and with some real good. Today we're talking about something that the idea, it was kind of a double thing that I didn't actually tell these guys, but we're not going to be back again between now and the new year. And I know there's a lot of people right now, probably wives, trying to figure out what to get their husbands for Christmas, and there might be some Christmas ideas involved. So the topic today is our favorite baits and kind of touching on like also what trailers we like to go with those baits, because sometimes that is a 1-2 punch that, like, for example, one of the things I wanted to talk about right off the bat is I was going to ask, because I know some of these guys' favorite baits, so that's not going to be information that I am trying to glean from these guys. It's do you have, like, for example, Chris, do you have a bait that has a specific trailer that you just won't deviate from because it's just like a confidence thing? Or
I mean, I do. I have, when it comes to the net, I have 3 trailers that I'm always tied on pretty much.
okay,
I do. I have a small paddle tail Z-Man, the little swim Z, the little tiny guy.
mm-hmm.
And then I like the tickler the best if I'm going straight dead sticking.
Yep.
And then I run the turd bugs that we talked about I think it was last week.
Yep.
I like the bugs better than the craw. That's, if I'm running a Ned, those 3 are almost always tied on. I dibble and dabble in other things. But those 3 for me are my confidence.
Yeah.
When it comes to weightless, I throw a caffeine shad, and that's the only thing I throw. As you know, I am a no wacky guy.
Yep.
That's because I'm wacky. I don't know. But that's what I throw for my weightless. And then on a chatterbait, I run a couple different trailers.
I do too.
Yeah, I run a couple different ones. I'll do a swim bait, small swim bait style. With a good paddle, I run the straight shad looking different ones, you know, whether it's a Z-Man one or the Rage makes a really good one of those too. And then I also sometimes I'll throw a thicker. Yep, exactly. Yep.
Yep.
And then sometimes I will throw a thicker, not really a true craw, more of a like the missile D-bomb type bait.
Yep.
The D-bomb will go on. Sometimes they don't last that long. Those are my trailers that I run, and that's pretty much all I run for soft.
Yeah. So it's like the only one. So like swim jigs for specifics. It's very rare that I'm changing out from that paddle tail.
Right.
Every once in a while, I will throw a beaver style on there, and that's more if I'm doing like, because I fish a swim jig. It's a jig, and that's something that I think people get hung up on. Is like, oh, it's a swim jig, so I have to swim it. No, you don't. You still have a jig, and the beauty of being in a kayak is like, I can take a swim jig and swim it, but then I can also flip it into cover. I can flip it into reeds. I can drag it. It's a 3 types of retrieve bait, but I'm almost always using, a small paddle tail on there. Chatterbait specifically, or bladed jig, if you want to not get into the Z-Man copyright world. I pretty much always throw, for the most part, I'm throwing like a fluke style, like kind of like Chris was saying, like that you have that like not do nothing, but it's just back there kind of bait. I use the Crush City Freeloader a lot as a trailer on the chatterbait because that thing it's a perfect blend of like, it's not fully Elastec, but it's Elastec enough that it lasts through some pike and pickerel. And let's be honest,
the thing is that they're a little fatter.
So. They're a little fatter. They don't really mess with the action, but that tail does like flap enough. Yeah. But I will throw a paddle tail on a chatterbait as well. And the trick with that is flip it upside down. So if you're finding that it's washing out a lot, you can just turn it upside down and that boot won't cause it to like, because what I realized is like, it took me a while to figure this out, but like, so chatterbait wants to ride up because of the blade.
Right.
With a paddle tail, it wants to ride down. So you're having 2 things fighting against each other. So if you flip it over, then they're both kind of doing the same type of pull. But trying to think. The only other bait that I really do a trailer with, which is the thing that kind of like set me up a little bit weird, is so I started fishing a spinnerbait towards the end of the year. And that one, I started out with like, paddle tail. I'm thinking that makes the most sense, but I had way more success on like a ribbon tail, like grub,
Yeah.
than
Smaller, shorter.
I did with the paddle tail, because it didn't have as much influence on like causing it to flip over.
Yeah.
It just had that little bit of kick back there. So I started running, like grub style baits. Every once in a while we'll throw like a craw, but I rig it vertical. So you get that like kick rather than the flap. But
I like to on the spinnerbait. I dibbled and dabbled in a lot of things. I like to just get a spinnerbait with the double skirt, so the inner is longer. And I find that I get better hookup. It seems like get better hookup ratios. And I'm kind of weird. The only time I throw a spinnerbait is when I'm burning it. I run my spinnerbait as fast as I can. It's sometimes I can pop out of the water that fast.
It's really weird because spinnerbait was something I picked up late, and I realized, and it's a dumb thing to like say, because like I realized like I've known this the whole time, I just never really did it right, is I will throw a spinnerbait where submerged, like you get that, like, so say 5 feet of water, 3 feet of grass.
Yeah.
I run it just above the grass line, whereas a chatterbait works in that environment. And I've caught a shit ton of fish in that environment, but you spend a lot of time fixing the chatterbait because it catches those straggler pieces of grass, and it gets caught in your blade. Whereas that spinnerbait just folds over that grass as it comes through with that wire. So it gives you that little bit more weedless presentation, but I'm basically fishing at the same place I would fish a chatterbait.
Yeah, me too. It's the speed. My chatterbait's always slow.
It's a little bit faster. Yeah, that is true. And you kind of have to. You kind of like, unless you got a really big bladed spinnerbait, they kind of roll over if you don't get them like kind of somewhat
right. And I run nothing but willows. I don't run the Colorado. I'm basically straight willow, both of them. Speed, all speed. I actually have a guy that custom makes spinner baits, and I have him downsize. He normally upsizes for everybody on the willows. I have him go down a size.
Yep. See, I like the smaller blades as well. That's something that my favorite spinnerbait right now is that Battle Baits Commando. And it's like, it's a half ounce, but it's like the profile of it's like from weight to blade is like this far.
Wow.
But it's got a single willow on it, but it's still a half ounce, and it has a good size. I think it's like a 2-aught hook, so it's like big enough. But
if you like the finer blades, you should go with the Megabass, the SV3s.
Yeah,
those things are awesome. So typically with those, I stick a Largo shad on the back of them, like a 4-inch Largo shad. I like the Largo shads simply because of the paint schemes that they have on them.
They're nice baits. They hold up well too.
Yeah. And let's see what else. I think that's about for like the spinnerbaits. That's typically the only one. But I will usually throw chatters and spinners together to see which bite they're on, because one's obviously mimicking a school and the other's a single. And then based upon what the fish tell me they want is what I'll stick with the rest of the day. But as far as like chatterbaits and stuff like that, I've only used like 3 trailers, and they're all like pintail minnows type.
Yeah.
So obviously the spunk shad is like a big one, and then you got like the big bites, kamikaze.
Yep.
And then what is it? There's one that I'm going to try out this year. It's that Depths. What the heck is that? The Death Adder. So it's almost like it's like a cross between a Senko and a spunk shad. So it like starts out with like the thicker body, and then it goes down to like a little pintail at the end. Yeah. So I'm going to try that one out this year. Let's see what else. Oh, swim jigs. The trailer I use on my swim jigs is a D-Walker, the River Sea D-Walker, and that's just because they're so rugged. Like I've gone through So I used to throw rage tails on the back of those my swim jigs, and I would go through like an entire pack in like half a day. And then I started throwing the D-walkers, and like I could get a bait to last an entire day, just because of how rugged the plastic is.
That's why I started pouring my own. That's literally the main reason I got a swim bait mold, was because the problem with a swim jig, the funniest thing about a swim jig is you will catch a lot of perch on a swim jig for some
Yes.
reason. I don't know why it is, but and the thing is it's like you almost got to break their jaw to get the hook out of their mouth, because the perch I hit, it's not even as big as a swim jig. We did have a question. I kind of actually am curious about this one. Is what's your favorite size for a jig? So I'm assuming they mean weight, but there is some nuance to that too, because you can get like a 1/2 ounce jig with a 1/0 hook if you look around. But what do you guys prefer as far as size goes?
I'm all about the 1/2 ounce. Like, to me, the 1/2 ounce is like the most versatile one. You can still fish it somewhat deep. You can still fish it very shallow, and you can slow the fall rate with just by changing out the type of trailer you're using. I just feel like 1/2 ounce is more versatile than a 3/8, 5/8, 3/4.
Yeah, I will go down to a quarter if I'm fishing shallow. Because a lot of times with what I'm doing with a swim jig, 99% of the time is slow rolling it. Like, I want to say over submergent grass, but in reality, I'm basically running it through the top of the submergent grass. Like, I'm not really fishing it in the open water at that point. Like, I reel it slow enough where I feel drag, where I'm kind of like if the grass is here, I'm kind of like bending the tops of the grass over as I bring it through, because you get those bass that are laying there looking up, and you start moving that grass around, and they start following that movement. But now I will say, if I'm like flipping cover, I will go up. Like, I have a few 3/4 if I'm like throwing it into like pads or heavy grass or like a bluff wall that's like super deep. I'll throw a 3/4, like, or not even really 3/4, but whatever that like 16th equivalent is in between, because there's always like a 5/16, and then there's like a 7/16, and there's always like those weird sizes. And actually, do you guys buy into that? Like, is there a difference between like 7/16 instead of a 1/2 ounce?
I mean, for me, it's more how the fall rate is depending on what size line.
True.
The actual weight to me doesn't matter. More the size or the shape of the jig is what I care about. And then depending on my line, right? Like, if I needed to get down into that 10+ foot range, I need really light line, or I got to go up in jig size. So I as you know, I'm not a great jig fisherman, so I don't have a ton. Most of mine are 3/8 or 1/2, and I just run them on lighter line. And if I got to go real light, I throw them on my spinning rod, on my Ned rod.
Yeah, like Jesse said, like the 1/2 ounce kind of like, it's not too heavy, but if you need it to get down, it will.
Right.
And the thing about a 1/2 ounce is, the one thing I have noticed about a quarter is a quarter is more greatly affected by current than a 1/2 ounce.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, significant, even though it's a quarter ounce difference, it is significantly more affected by wind and current and any type of movement in the water than a 1/2 ounce is.
Yeah, and then also your trailer really affects the quarters, even the 3/8. If you get a big flapping trailer, the 3/8 is.
Kitech is one of those baits that like you hate to love, because you're like, man, they catch so many damn fish and they're so good, but if a fucking bluegill looks at it wrong, the boot tail falls off of Kitech.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're just it's the trade-off you have for the durability, but also the action. So if you want good durability, you are going to lose a little bit of the action, because it has to be stiffer plastic in order to have that durability, and it's not going to have the same roll and all of that. Actually, question from
that's a good
Michael
one.
Bradley. So, do you prefer rubber or silicone skirts? So, for me, I have both. I actually make a lot of my own skirts, because my favorite swim jig is a Booyah. It's actually I think it's the pitching jig. It's not even a swim jig, but the skirts on it are awful. Like, they suck. They only last like 2 or 3 fish and then they're shredded up. So what I do is I actually buy aftermarket black blue skirts that I buy them with the like already built-in collar, and like not the ones that are like on the rubber band, but the ones that have like a silicone like thing clip on there. But I also have a skirt making kit that I will actually mix it. So to complicate your question, I actually will take like a half a tab of like living rubber and mix it with the silicone skirt. So if you put that underneath the silicone skirt, it'll flare out the silicone skirt too. Because when that stuff starts to rise, it actually causes all of it to kind of. The living rubber does actually last a little bit better too, because
I think it does last longer, right?
It does fall apart. The silicone skirts fall apart. It's just. I even dabbled them on Anglin AI makes a mold, plastisol skirt mold.
Oh wow!
So you can actually make, and I'm curious to see if I did like a floating plastisol, and then make a skirt out of a floating plastisol, like not as much for swim jig, but like a small Ned or small like finesse jig. It'd be cool to have it sit on the bottom and then have that skirt like float. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Jesse, you fish a lot of like I don't know what class. See, it's weird to think about like the swim bait category, because when you say, Jesse, you fish a lot of swim baits, you have to go hollow belly, paddle tail, hard swim bait. Like there's not like swim baits like such a broad category, but you fish a lot of those like kite or mega bass style, cull shad style, the Sal Dangerous loaded. Like, do you have like, other than the Sal Dangerous that we know you like, is there another one that you prefer over others?
So I actually kind of fell in love with that final copy from Strike King.
Really? I've seen them. I haven't tried them yet.
I haven't tried them.
So, you know, they're I don't know. It's almost like a mag draft, but at the same time, you can speed them up a little bit.
Okay.
So they're definitely a little more versatile. I will say this though: the harness does not last very long. I mean, my smallies choke the hell out of it, and I'll go through, I think, maybe 6 fish, and then the harness is ripped out. So they're not super durable, that's for sure, but they definitely catch.
I'm not gonna lie though, dude. Honestly, the Sal Dangerous with the line through, okay, that one lasts, but it doesn't really have a harness. It has basically a line through with a hook. The Mega Bass, for what you're paying for those Mega Bass, dude, those don't. That harness sucks too.
It does, and it's also like it's a fantastic bait, but you have to slow roll it. Like
you can't speed those up. They will roll the hell over. Yeah.
No, you'll blow them out real easy.
Yeah. Now I don't know about the bigger ones. I haven't fished a lot of the 8-inch ones. They may hold a little bit better than I fish a lot of the 6-inch ones.
Yeah.
But have you ever fished what the fuck is the Spro one? I forget what it's called. It's like something John or Megalojohn or some fucking thing like that. Is Spro Megalojohn. No, they made like a coal shad kind of style bait with a similar harness. I can look it up, but I forget. I tried it and I wasn't super impressed with it.
Let's see what else. Oh, I absolutely love battalions.
Well, yeah. I'm sure the company that makes them loves you too, because
well, they are Mega Bass, so
yeah. That's the thing is I do like Mega Bass stuff, but the problem with the Mega Bass stuff is like
you talking about this?
Hold on, let me get back there. It's similar to that, yeah. It's
Spro John Cruz Megalojohn.
Yeah, that's what it was. They had a freaking like a crappie looking one. It's heavy. It's wicked heavy. Like I think like it's smaller than a mag draft, but it's like an ounce, and it has a cool, like it has a real good hunting look to it.
Yeah.
But I just never could get any. Even pike would ignore it.
Wow. 6 inches and 1 3/4 ounces.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's stupid heavy.
Looks
And I
like
played around with a lot of the Z-Man, the new Z-Man one that they do.
Yeah.
The newer ones that Z-Man do, the cool thing about those is they have more of the Huddleston tail, which makes a little bit different action. And they have a couple like bluegill profiled ones. The Mega Bass makes like again, I'm talking about Mega Bass after saying like that. What I was saying about Mega Bass earlier is like you can't get them. Like in Vermont, there's like Dick's Sporting Goods has like 4 Mega Bass baits, couple Vision 110s maybe, and there's no tackle stores local around me that sell any of that stuff unless you want to go to Bass Pro. Which I mean, I went to Bass. I don't know if I told you guys, I went to Bass Pro on Saturday.
Nice.
And I literally only bought like 3 baits, and it was all ice fishing stuff. But like,
You went all the way down just for that
one.
Well, so I actually went down there because I wanted to see. I actually want to see. You know what's funny is, you know what, I bought like almost $100 worth of stuff, but 70 of it was a freaking chair. I wanted in my shanty, I needed a taller camping chair because the windows are up high and you can't see out of them with a regular camp chair.
Oh.
So they had a director style chair or whatever, and it has like it has a table on one side and it has like a zippered like storage flap thing that flips down that you can, has like a cup holder, a pocket, a zippered pocket, and all that stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, I bought a couple of like just destroy, like I was catching pike and all kinds of shit on it, and it's just like this tiny little. The problem with it is it's got like the freaking treble hook on that thing is like tiny. Like it's like 3 little needle points on the end of a tiny little wire. So if you hook something big with it shreds that hook. So, and you pretty much like, for Chris is like, I don't want to say Chris is one-dimensional, but Chris is very stuck in his pattern, and he pretty much follows the same bait. So he doesn't like, you don't really deviate into the trends and stuff like I do.
No, I'm not a trend follower. What I will do, like even chatterbait, I was late to the game because I have to prove it to myself before I use it, you know? So, you know, even the chatterbait at first, I hated them. I just couldn't get, but I was reeling them too fast.
Yep.
I like to cover water. So I was reeling them way too fast. And then when I slowed down with them, and then I fell in love with them. And it was just kind of funny because I used to love just, the Kitech style swim bait.
Yep.
And that's all I ran for that kind of a cover in water, that or a spinnerbait. Yep. And then once I learned how to slow down and fish, yeah, exactly, right. Once I learned how to slow it down and run that chatterbait through the weeds, or right through the weeds and pop it out of there, I learned that technique and fell in love with the chatterbait. So now that's my search bait of choice.
What I think is funny is, and that's one thing I'm doing next year, I'm going to really specialize in it, is I used to pretty much exclusively throw paddle tail too. Like I threw fucking Kitech on belly weighted swim bait hooks or ball head. And that was about, it was basically, it was belly weighted if it was grassy and ball head if it wasn't. And I caught so many fish, and some of the biggest fish I ever caught was on that style. And I got away from it last year. I actually literally bought a mold to get back into it. But it's funny how you get locked into your confidence baits, and it's really hard to be like I've been at so many bodies of water where I'm like, man, I should probably throw a Ned. This makes sense to throw a Ned, but I got to throw a wacky because I know I catch fish on it. Or like I should throw a square bill. And that's what's weird about me is like I will throw a swim jig anywhere that most people will be throwing a square bill. Because I do catch fish on a square bill, but the thing about the square bill for me is it's a hookup ratio thing. You can lose a fish on those treble hooks with a square bill, whereas the way I hit a fish in the face with a swim jig, they're still shaking their head at how hard I hit them. Like that's actually, it's a testament. it's a testament that, you know, Fish Extreme on their rods, because dude, if I'm not breaking them rods with the way I'm hitting them,
Right.
like my kayak changes direction when I hit them things. Like,
That's like me with my jig hook sets and stuff. I crack the shit out of them.
Dude, it's like G-Man slacklining on steroids, because I will literally like, and it's funny because when you record yourself, you don't realize it until you see it. Because bear fishing used to call it my tuna hook set every single time. But it was like I would sense the bite, and then you see me like I turn my head to the side, and I like you see me like just straight, like I've actually pulled muscles setting swim jig hook, you know, like like I've hit fish so hard, like there's no, like they always like use that terminology of, you know, change the direction of the fish to get them coming back to the boat. They don't have a choice when I hit them. like I had a couple, like my swim jig reel has no drag left.
Oh, there goes the lights. Damn, the fish are coming to get me.
I had to like literally just basically max out the drag on my swim jig reel, because when I was setting the hook, I was just pulling drag regardless. So I just basically maxed it out, because, and that's funny thing though, is like, that's what you learn, like going with the favorite bait stuff is also like, that's also where you learn like how important your rods are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mr. now picked up a new rod sponsor guy is learning pretty quickly, is like all rods aren't created equal either.
Mm-hmm.
So like you learn, like that's one of the reasons why like the FX or the Fish Extreme, I keep saying FX, but like the Fish Extreme stuff for me was always like when you actually get a real cranking rod,
right,
it completely changes treble hook fishing for you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because you realize how many fish you lost because you just didn't have the right action.
Right.
Yep.
And unfortunately, my favorite square bill I lost, so I'm pissed about that. But
get paint you a new one.
Stoneman hooked me up with 3 of them already, so
Nice.
but and actually, I can't say, like, I guess favorite baits, like speaking of that, like of hard baits, you can't really beat a square bill for a lot of purposes. But the problem I have is a lot of the fisheries I fish are heavy grass, and it's not. You can do it, and I do it, and I do it in a lot of places that I probably shouldn't do it, but it's not fun. Like, it sucks because you're just fucking picking salad out of treble hooks all day long, and it's just not really worth the effort when I can just run a swim jig through it that's weedless. Even a chatterbait. That's the other thing. Chatterbaits are not all created equal.
Nope.
There is differences in like nuances to size, and like, for example, the slobber knocker from Berkeley, that thing comes through wood way better, but fishes like shit in open water, in my opinion. A traditional like old OG chatterbait, I guarantee you, if you throw that around wood, it's going to find it. There's no contest that old chatterbait is going to roll over and bury itself into a tree. It's just how it is. But the Evos are a little bit better because they have that flatter bottom on the head, so they plane out a little bit better. But speaking of like chatterbait stuff too, do you find, Jesse, I know you fish a lot of them, do you find like there's a difference between tungsten and lead?
Yes.
Okay.
So when I started doing the high end chatterbaits, so, I started with jackhammers. They have quite a thump, but I can tell you that their thump is not anything like the new Evo Tungsten. Okay. The Evo Tungsten report is just so much more rapid and so much more well defined because it's not dulled out by the lead head. Okay. That being said, I feel so when I was down at Gunnersville, I was actually not getting bit on the Evo Tungsten because it was just too much. Like there was too much vibration that was happening, which is why I had to switch back to the Mini Max and go with the lead head because it was much more subtle.
Subtle, yeah.
So if you're going to use like the Evo Tungsten, I would suggest using it early in the year before they've been beat on.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the year, they're not wanting it.
I found the same thing. I actually bought the tungsten by accident because I fish a lot of the green pumpkin Evo in general, and I just wasn't paying attention. I don't want to say I'm like bougie or entitled, but like I don't look at prices. I look at the bait and go, yeah, I need one of those and I need one of those, and I just grabbed the Evo tungsten because they had it on the end cap next to the non-tungsten.
Right.
They set me up is what they did, because that's more money.
That's all their fault.
Let's be honest, they put it next to it because they're like, this idiot's just gonna grab the wrong one. Who cares?
Right.
And I fished it for a little bit, but I did. What's weird is that's why I asked, is like I actually could tell. Like when I casted that thing out, I was like, this thing's weird. This is different. And then I was like, oh, you can actually feel like it. It's like a tungsten net head. The difference between like a tungsten and a lead net head is you throw a lead net head out and you're like, oh, that's bottom. You throw a tungsten net head out and you're like, oh, that's a rock versus that's a tree. Like you could feel, like you get to the point where you start to be like, oh, I can tell what this is. It's the same thing with that chatterbait, is you can feel like, oh, there's more thump and it's a different thump.
Yep.
And like you said, the problem I've had is there is times where, and that's actually why I started fishing a spinnerbait, because a spinnerbait does make a thump, but it doesn't make that same thump, and it was a different sound profile. And there is a big difference, and people don't realize, like even square bills, a lot of times I try to find a silent and a rattle in the same color if I can, because there is times where a silent crankbait is better than a rattle.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, once they get to the end of the season and they've seen 35 straight king 1.5s and 2.5s. They don't only just get used to color, they get used to sound profiles too, and then they're like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yep.
So because I've actually found that with lipless too, you can actually get silent liplesses, and those are kind of sneaky at times too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a couple of those. The only downside is with the lipless, so I really like the Jackal TNs. But the problem is they only have a few select colors for the US, but if you go on like the JDM market, holy shit, the amount of awesome colors that are in there. Like I picked up a couple of one that was in like a largemouth bass pattern, and then another one that was in like an actual bluegill pattern.
Yep.
Yeah.
And holy cow, that largemouth. And what was really funny is I was actually getting more bites in a smallmouth fishery on a largemouth colored bait than I was on any other color.
So if you have PayPal, I can start sending you some photos, because apparently there's like 8 JDM booths at the Ohio show. And Jackal's one of them.
Oh yeah.
And they bring like actual, this is like real, like it sounds weird to say it, but there's JDM and then there's JDM. There's JDM, like technically Kitech is JDM. But you can buy it at every retail store in Vermont. There is JDM, and then there is exclusive Japanese market baits. Like Megabass makes specific freaking, like Vision 110s that you can't buy in the US.
Yep.
You can buy them in Japan and have them shipped here from a vendor, but you're not going to get them in a retailer here.
Right.
And Jackal's one of those. Jackal's actually one of those companies I've always respected, because they have a lot of like innovation. And as far as I've experienced with their baits, their quality is there.
Absolutely.
It's not a knockoff. Like it's a knockoff bait in the sense of like everybody is knocking each other off. Let's be honest. I hate how like Berkeley gets all this like flack for, oh, you copied their bait again, dude. Everybody's copying everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just there's only so many freaking things you can make in a profile of a bait fish before you start copying each other's designs. But like anything I've ever bought that was a Jackal bait held up and was good. Like I never really was like, man, I really wish this had held up better.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and they make some weird shit. You go down the rabbit hole of Jackal, dude, they make some weird like plastics and some stuff that like you're like, what in the hell? Have you seen the new like the freaking apparently there's a mold going around for those freaking like freaking balls, like the dice baits? It's $400 for the mold to make one at a time.
That's
And I'm
not.
like, wow. Have you played around with those at all, Chris? Because that kind of does fit into your style a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't bought, and I just for Christmas I bought some that have the skirt
Yep.
material. I haven't bought any of the all molded ones yet. Last year I was making my own with little skirt material.
Yep. I did that. I bought the little threading tool and I was making
Yeah.
a few.
And I wasn't doing any of the dice or the big blobs. I was doing much more standard style baits and adapting them. But
I will say a TRD with it, with the skirting material.
Oh yeah, Nick has a couple favorites now that I make for him, and
Yep.
he caught like I think the last 3 tournaments, every fish he weighed in was on one.
Actually, I don't know. Jackal might be.
I think they are under Shimano.
They probably are.
I think they are.
Because you know what I was thinking, Chris, that might work, and I want to try it, but I don't have any of the small ones. I bet you the small dice would work good ice fishing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I mean, it sounds funny. You can make them with a piece of Z-Man.
I've done it.
And just cut a chunk off and make your own. That'd be small enough.
Yeah, I'm thinking about because
cut
I have
like a quarter, half-inch long max, quarter-inch.
I have the threading tool, and I'm thinking about just throwing it on like a Ned head.
Yeah, you're going to want to bring out extra pieces of script material because when they grab it good and just the tail, it pulls right out.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like I'm debating on because I feel like with the cold water, it's going to suspend those skirting material more.
Yeah,
and you're just suspend and literally, what are you doing when you're jigging? You're just
in the Z-Man. They stand out pretty good. They don't.
Yeah,
they're in the Z-Man material. That's why I've had the best luck.
Oh, I've done a lot of the
kick straight out. Depending on which kind of material you're running.
Yeah, no, I've ran. I think it was hula sticks I was cutting up.
Yep, exactly.
Because the hula sticks were like I could get a few out of each one.
Exactly. Yep. You can make one without the tickler and one with the tickler.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's funny is I always talk about like not having not fishing. I have it.
Right.
I have Z-Man stuff. I got a bunch of like Z-Man stuff for free at one point. One of my buddies sent me a bunch of stuff. But like it's that's a bait next year that I'm hoping I'm trying to get back into Ned fishing. Like I used to do it a little bit. Got away from it because it's a confidence thing. It's like the wacky rig always catches, so then I just don't go back to it. But I need to. There is certain situations where they won't eat a wacky and they will eat a Ned.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Especially up on the lakes up by me. Don't get me wrong. I don't fish the wacky enough, and you can catch it, but I can cover more water. And I mean,
you can cover more water. And what I found is, honestly, it's your fault. To be honest, I've been beat by the Ned enough times because I know other people in the trail that are using it that are like, I know I need to add it. And that's the thing about fishing that like ruins your financial well-being is that you catch a fish on a wacky rig and then you're like, okay, yeah, I can catch a fish on a wacky rig. Now I want to catch a fish on something else. So then you catch a fish on a square bill, and then you catch a fish on a square bill, and then you hear that Jesse's killing them on chatterbait minis. And then you're like, well, maybe I'll try a couple of those. That concept makes sense. And then before you know it, you're running a tackle store out of your house because you're like, holy shit, I bought. And the other thing is the biggest mistake. I'll tell you right now, the number one thing I can tell you to do if you're buying a bait right now is buy two. Yeah. Never buy a single bait. Because if you buy one, you're going to start catching fish on, and then you're going to lose it and you won't be able to find it again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you end up buying all these baits that like, and I know I'm not saying like people that are watching this don't like go down the rabbit hole and spend all of your money on like extravagant 10-inch glides and stuff that's way out there, but don't hesitate to get outside of your comfort zone sometimes and buy different styles, because you get to a point where you start to build this Rolodex in your head and it can save your day. There can be those days where you go to a lake that you always catch fish on a swim jig and they want fucking nothing to do with a swim jig, but they will eat chatterbait, a spinnerbait, a freaking square bill, a lipless. So if you have at least one or two of each option, it gives you the ability to figure out what they want. Because let's be honest, it's not like we know. We always try, like when I do content, I'm always like, oh yeah, the condition is this and the situation is this, so we're gonna throw this bait. Well, yeah, that's what the textbook says, but the bass are gonna tell you what they want. You just have to throw it to find out what they want. You got to get the information from the feedback from them that, hey, oh, they're chasing the. That's actually where the forward-facing sonar comes in, is you can see them react to it, and you go, oh, well, they don't want nothing to do with the jerk bait, but they're chasing the chatterbait, so they want something faster.
Right.
You just have to be able to interpret. I think that's the biggest thing, is interpreting the information. That's what separates like a bad, I don't want to say bad angler, but a less experienced angler from someone who catches, consistent fish, is that I go, okay, they're not chasing my wacky rig all the way to the bottom and they're not looking at it. Let me throw a jig in and see what happens if they react to a fastfall or a Texas rig. Okay, they're not reacting to that. Okay, I'm going to go to a moving bait entirely and throw like a square bill. Okay, they're following that, but they're not hitting it. Well, maybe it's the color. And that's the shit that runs through your head the whole time until you finally dial in that bite. And that's probably the most rewarding thing.
Yep.
Is when you finally go. I think the most rewarding, and actually, Jesse, you can weigh in on this one too. To me, I feel more successful if I got to a lake and I caught 3 5-pounders immediately. I feel more successful if I had to grind for 4 hours, but then finally got on a bite, even if the fish are not that big. Like you spend all day fighting to get that bite, and then you finally dial it in. I feel like a more like satisfactory feeling of that than just getting on a bite immediately.
Yes. And I can agree to that, because that happened to me on pretty much all of my days, except for second to last one down at Gunnersville. I mean, all practice long, I'd get like 1, maybe 2 in the morning. And then next thing you know, afternoon comes around. It's been like 3, 4, 5 hours. And, you've just been freaking dragging nuts. And you're like, oh my God, can this just end? And then you start cracking on them. It's like, oh, okay. All right, now I found them. Now they're, and that tells you something else, is like, oh, okay, well, they weren't biting throughout the day, but now here it is. It's like 1:30 and they start to fire. It's like, okay, that's something. And then you go out, and during practice, that was actually something that I did, is I started, a lot of guys were going out at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and starting off, which, okay, that can work. But what I was recognizing in the pattern was they weren't starting to feed until afternoon. So you could go out for 6 hours and, screw around and not freaking get a bite until noon, or you could go out at like 8, 9 o'clock, go for a few hours, and then all of a sudden, come into the bite. So again, it's all pattern recognition and noticing those things.
Yeah.
That's when I started to progress as an angler. Tournaments do that to you anyways, because you have to fish outside your comfort zone.
Yep.
Because you're going one to a body of water you didn't necessarily pick for that day. Because that's the thing. When you have like Chris and me are very similar in our own respective areas, is that I wake up in the morning. I don't really have, my wife gets irritated because we have kind of like an unwritten rule that like she knows where I'm fishing, because a lot of times she's at work, but she at least needs to know what lake I'm at, right? Just for safety reasons. But like I'll go Thursday, I'm like, okay, Friday I'm fishing my home lake. And then I'll check the forecast and I'm like, well, maybe I'll go to Bombazine. And then right before bed, I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to go up north and I'm going to fish Maury. And then I wake up in the morning and there's a 30-mile-an-hour west wind. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to my home lake. Because like you have these lakes that are local to you that you're like, okay, if the wind's out of the west at this speed,
right.
My home lake is one of those lakes that if it's really windy, like almost unsafe windy in a lot of other places and raining, that place is fire. Or if it's not windy, I'm not going there because the fish aren't going to bite. And you get to the point where you have this like Rolodex of locations. And I know Jesse does, because we've talked about almost all of his quote unquote home lakes or local lakes that like he has the same kind of deal. He's like, oh yeah, the wind's going this way, so I'm going to go hit that lake today. But the thing is what a tournament does is that tournament forces you to go to XYZ lake on that day and overcome whatever the hell Mother Nature wants to throw at you that day. And that's for
Makes you
me.
strong.
And that's the fishing thing. That's what I've tried to do in my fun fishing is that there's definitely a large list, but I'm running out of lakes. Like my dad will go, "Hey, I heard about this lake. Have you fished there?" I'm like, "Yeah, last week." Well, what about this lake? It's way up north. It's up by the Canadian border. And I'm like, Salem? He goes, yeah. I'm like, fished it. Magog? Fished it. Like you start to like just get it's a competition thing for me. And that's what's cool about fishing is like when I'm not doing a tournament, I'm competing against myself. I'm always competing when I'm fishing. It's never not a competition for me. It's just the terms of the competition change. If I'm at my home lake, I'm trying to catch a bigger fish. If I'm at a brand new lake, I'm trying to catch a legal bass. That's my mentality is if I can catch a legal bass at a body of water I've never been to before, I get that sense of, okay, cool. I caught a fish here. And then, but then the problem is then when you do that, you're like, okay, now I got to catch 2. Now I got to catch 3. Now I got to catch a bigger one. And then you just kind of keep building that up. And I think that's the thing that keeps us coming back to the sport is that you're never done.
Right.
Because then you're like, okay, cool. I'm a local hero in Vermont. I'll go get my ass kicked in New Hampshire. Because as amazing as it is, and as little as people know about, like, I can't speak for the South and how stuff breaks down there, but I can tell you, like, in New England, there's 4 states in a circle that all fish entirely different. You can go to upstate New York and have a totally different experience than you're going to have in Vermont, that you're going to have in New Hampshire, that you're going to have in Connecticut, or Massachusetts.
Right.
And that's where I had to start learning. Like when I started fishing Massachusetts, that's where I really had to start learning. Because their fisheries, there's not as much grass there.
Yeah.
Well, they're primarily what? Wood and rock, right?
It's a lot of rock. It's a lot of heavy. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh, they have no grass. No, they have grass. They have grass. But they're not like, that's my problem. My biggest failing. And next year, I have vowed, and Chris he's probably going to be happy to hear for the fact that he's my friend and he wants me to progress as an angler, but sad to hear that I'm probably going to be spending a lot of time by his house because there's a lot of lakes around him that have the perfect conditions to learn how to fish hard bottom. Yeah. So I'm going to be spending a lot more time up his way to try to force myself, because that's, I think, the most valuable thing you can do to yourself is go to a lake that's outside your comfort zone and just force yourself to catch.
We're going to get you on the big lake too a lot.
Oh, I am. That's going to be the beauty of getting my boat fixed.
You don't need your boat.
I can do it with and I will do it with the kayak too. It's just having the boat fixed is going to open up a lot of, because let's be honest, there's no more diverse fishery in our area than Champlain.
Right.
I mean, you can, like, by you, perfect example. There's fucking probably 6 ramps that have every possible condition you want to go flip pads, you go to this ramp. You want to go fish open water, deep water, offshore. There's all the conditions possible are in your area.
One ramp, you can do both.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, and honestly, Champlain has a little bit more diversity in species too, so you can kind of go screw around with other species too if you don't want to play with bass. How many, I'll answer this one after, but I'm kind of curious for you guys because I know, how many licenses do you guys usually run? Like
myself,
a year?
Only 2 or 3 normally, depending. If I go to Florida with my dad, I'll have a 4th. But.
Typically, that's what I do. Is 2 or maybe 3, but this coming year I'm going to have like 5.
Yep.
Starting that trail and that tri-state trail for
right.
Bass Nation. Right. So I'm going to need Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and then come freaking having to go to the 10 wherever we decide to do that. I'm going to have to get one there. So that could be anywhere from Alabama to Florida or, anywhere in between. There was talk of Santee Cooper. So.
Okay. There you go. That's a hike. It's a little bit of a drive. What's funny about that is I've always said, and it'll never happen. Political will never happen, but I wish they would do a New Englander license.
Be cool.
because there's so many people in New England. Like the thing that's funny is like you talk to and Michael Bradley being a New Yorker, I consider the Adirondacks part of New England.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
it's not by definition.
But
But I consider
north
anywhere
of Albany.
anywhere north of Albany, I really consider more Vermont than New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just especially like Crown Point and up.
Yeah, that Route 11 corridor.
Yeah, that whole corridor is basically like that's one of those areas where if somebody like blindfolded you and put you there, you'd still think you were in Vermont. You know,
Right.
like you
absolutely. Hell yeah.
Hell, half of the people that live in Crown Point work in fucking Middlebury.
Yeah, even Plattsburgh, they come over and
So but like the thing is I wish they would do like a flat fee that just covers all of New England, because I buy a New Hampshire, a Massachusetts. I've had a New York license more than I've had a Vermont license in my lifetime. I got Vermont, and I'm really want to get to Maine next year. Like this coming season, I want to go screw around at Maine. I'm trying, and I think I can do it because I'm gonna get the wife to just do like a long weekend camping trip thing.
maybe one of those amateur tournaments will be somewhere in Maine that I have some connections, and maybe we can go out and play at one of those.
Ooh, that wouldn't be a bad idea. And honestly, you know what I'd love to do is I love to ice fish in Maine. I feel like that could be baller, but yeah, no, I end up running minimum. I end up with a New Hampshire license every year. Even though I try not to, I always end up fishing some New Hampshire lake at some point. And it's not always a full season. Sometimes I actually screwed up this year and should have bought a full season, because I ended up going to New Hampshire 3 different times and buying single days, which then I ended up spending as much as I would have for the season anyways.
Yeah.
I almost always end up with a Massachusetts license because I go fish with Bobby.
Yeah.
And New York, the funny part is, like I said about New York, is as a kid, I always went to Oswego every year.
And I used to go to Pulaski and
same. So we used to go, we went to, I can't say that. As a kid, we went to Mexico.
Yeah, Little Mexico, yeah.
We used to stay at Dowiedale Campground, and we were right there on the other side of Mexico Bay Launch.
Yeah.
And we would go there for 10 days. So I would always have a seasonal 10-day. I'd buy a seasonal license because by the time you buy, I think it would be, you need 3 days. Right. You spend as much as a season. And New York, which I've heard and read, and I don't know if Vermont's actually doing it this year or next year, but Vermont's looking to go to the 365 format too.
Oh, cool.
New York does a 365, so you don't get screwed by buying a license early or late. You just, like, my license is good next year until Columbus Day.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because like ice fishermen especially get boned, because guys like right now that are going out ice fishing, they're just buying their licenses in December, and then they're gonna have to buy another one in January.
Yep.
But I always end up with a Massachusetts, New York, Vermont minimum, and then a lot of times I end up throwing in another state because somebody convinces me to go trips. Or I'm actually looking to do a snakehead send down in Jersey with Janelle too.
Oh, I would love to get on some snakeheads.
You should come with me. I'll let you know. It's in the spring sometimes. She said that they run in the spring. So, and the good thing about it is honestly when I think their breeding season is like while we're still kind of like in that de-icing but not quite spawn phase. So down there's a campground near her that's like season, like all year. Like they don't shut down down there because they don't really get a winter, but they do. Like it's kind of like
doesn't Jermaine live in Jersey?
Yep, he does. He's more northern than she is.
Okay.
But my plan was to go down there, stay at that campground. But my plan is to try to make a longer trip out of it, do a couple days with her to do the snakehead thing, and then try to link up with Jermaine on the way back through and hit a lake with him on the way back through. And then, and like I said, it's going to be something where literally all you'd have to do is get there. Like I'm going to be covering the site anyway, so it's just a matter of gas to get down there and hang out with us and licenses. And normally when I do a trip like that, we just all like split food. Like I do Monday, you do Tuesday, he does Wednesday, kind of deal. Whatever the days are. But and I'm doing some That's one of the trips I've been trying to do for a couple of years because I've never even caught like a burbot or any of that shit.
Hmm.
So I've never caught any of that kind of. I don't know what they're called, but you know what I mean. That shape of fish. Like I don't know
Have you caught bowfin?
Nope.
Oh, really?
Never caught a bowfin either. Again, that's one of the reasons why I want to get like on Champlain and shit because
I can put you on. I can put you on sight fishing them.
Yeah, and that's and I want to. It's definitely something I want to try because it's like it looks like a fun bite.
Oh,
I guess those snakehead are fucking unruly.
Oh, sore.
Yeah,
I got news for you, man. You want to put up a fight? Don't put them in a net. You think a pike twist in a net? You should watch.
Oh, really? They get that? Yeah.
They literally will roll. They'll roll outside
really?
the boat before you even grab them. They'll start rolling sideways. Yeah,
That's
they roll
awesome.
sideways like crazy. They twist you up. They like almost break your hand with a gripper.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You better have this bungee around your wrist, and as soon as you clamp on, you better let go because it's gonna twist.
It's gonna twist.
No matter it literally twist your arm right up.
Yeah, no, there's gonna be some trips for sure. Like I wanna hang out with you because you know the spots. Tap into your knowledge up there a little bit because there's a lot of that kind of stuff that I want to do. Like that's the thing is like everybody would think from my channel that like, oh, he's a bass fisherman. I'm a fisherman. It's just bass is what's easiest for me to get my hands on. Like I would love to catch a 20-pound brown or a freaking bowfin or a snakehead or rainbow. Like I'm happy about catching any of them.
Right.
It's just trout are more finicky and they're specialized to catch certain fish or certain ways of catching them that it's hard to like want to go target that without prior knowledge because it's like I'm also trying to make a video. So it's hard for me to like, oh, I'm going to spend 6 hours trying to catch a species and now I didn't make a video because I didn't do anything with it.
Right.
Hell, even catfishing is fun.
I haven't even gotten a walleye, so.
Really? See, dude, walleye are fun. You know what's funny, dude, though, is I've gotten more walleye through the ice than anywhere else, though.
Shoot, this summer on our lake, I caught 8 in 4 hours myself.
Yeah.
And between the other two that were in the boat, Nick and Zach, I think they caught another 5 more. I think we caught 13 fish in 4 hours, 13 walleye. And then all the smallmouth and everything else, largemouth and whatever. But
yeah, I've caught a few open water, but I've caught a lot on Chris's lake ice fishing.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen this year too. I'm definitely going to get on some walleye there. There's going to be days normally when I ice fish, and that's what you guys will see that in upcoming content because I'm literally going tomorrow to like specifically like check for ice fishing conditions, but I'm going to be doing like real ice fishing, I guess is the way to word it, like targeting specific species and like doing things like any other time. It was just, I'm going to throw in 8 tip ups here and see what I can find.
They're already catching lake trout at Crown Point.
Dude, that's terrifying to me because I saw fucking drone footage of that and Bawaga's still fucking open water.
Yeah, and that whole area, if the wind comes out of the north, that ice does this.
It turns into a fucking like wave pool. Yeah, it's the weirdest shit ever. Champlain is an ice fishing place that I that's the one place, and I've come full circle on some of this shit. Like I used to say I would never ice fish alone too. Tomorrow I'm going to check ice, but by myself. But Champlain is a place that I have this own personal, like I won't fish by myself. It's too unpredictable and there's too many fucked up scenarios where with the problem with Champlain is if you go under, you're going with the current. Like there's current almost everywhere. There's current almost everywhere. So you're not just like falling through and falling into stagnant water. You're falling into essentially a river. So you got to be really careful. And there's not consistent conditions are not a thing on Champlain. Like you could be every 3 feet can be an entirely different ice thickness and consistency. So, but that being said, dude, last year I was very jealous of guys over at Crown Point because they were pulling fucking 30-inch Lakers all day.
Yeah.
On tip of like YouTubers from way up north.
Launch. right now. They're
Dude,
pretty close to the launch.
I was watching, was it Woods North or one of those YouTube guys from up north? He was, no joke, 30 yards off the parking lot at the bridge. And he was pulling fucking like 30-inch Lakers.
I know, and I fished bass tournaments out of that launch and fished right there for bass in the summer.
Dude, that area is sneaky because we used to troll. When I was a kid, we used to go through there and troll for salmon.
Right?
You go right under the pillars, back and forth, and we were just trolling like Alpina diamond spoons and
little needlefish and stuff.
Needlefish, simple. I mean, dude, just simple shit, just running through there, and that's one of those spots that like I should fish that. That's one place I am gonna fish more with the bass boat because Bulwaga is pretty loaded with fish.
Yep.
And you got Tri-Town water just up from there that holds fish too. And honestly, with a bass boat, you can then zip down a little bit. You're not going to get all the way down to like Larrabee's, but you can get down that south part. It's a very weird line because the Champlain Bridge north turns more into a smallmouth-ish fishery.
Yeah.
Once you go south, it's more largemouth and swamp fishing. So you kind of have a little bit of both ecosystems in the same area. But let's see. I'm trying to think of like other baits just to get back on topic a little bit. Do you ever play around with like the hollow belly swim baits at all? Have you ever screwed around with those at all?
I haven't.
I've done a little bit with them, but the problem I've had with them, what I did learn that was sneaky, put a rattle in them. So those stupid rattles that come on jigs, like, you know, the like Booyah does it, Strike King does it. They put those little, like, they have the harness that like holds the skirt, and then it's got the little
harness.
Yeah, so those rattles that come with that, I take those off my jigs almost as soon as I buy them. But I keep the rattles because you can stuff them inside of like hollow baits. And I've done that with hollow belly swim baits before. And you take those and if you fish them because they float more, you can fish them shallow over top of like grass edges, and that rattle like draws, unfortunately, it also draws pike, which completely shred those things. But it's crazy to me, like when I talk to people that don't fish like waters that have like pike.
Right. Yeah.
It's baffling to me because I'm like, oh, you know, you can't fish the jackhammers where my home lake because you'll lose them. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, pike. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. You don't have pike. You have maybe walleye, but not even.
Talk about throwing those expensive glides and stuff. On mono or on fluoro. I'm like, what? No way.
Yeah, no way.
I don't throw mine on anything less than 50-pound braid or a steel leader.
Yep. Dude, I'm actually buying. I gotta hit the tackle store before this weekend. But when I get a couple of the lakes, like when I fish Dunmore, for example, I'm not afraid to say Dunmore for ice fishing because if you don't know about Dunmore for ice fishing, you don't fish in Vermont. But it's almost all pike. Like the place I fish is pretty much predominantly pike. But I'm thinking about like running a steel leader on some of my tip ups because
you can buy a tieable steel leader and that's what my spinnerbait guys do when they come up to Champlain.
Yep.
They run, like, he makes his own spinnerbaits and he makes high-end, big, massive spinnerbaits for when he's looking just for pike.
Yeah.
They run a 18 to 24 inch tieable steel leader.
It makes sense.
I don't know what he calls it, but it literally it's no thicker than maybe 50-pound braid, and it's almost as supple. It's not quite as supple.
Crazy. See, that would be.
He ties a regular polymer knot with it. I'm like, what? So,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
See,
I have a link for it.
So, let me know, because what I do with my tip ups is I actually run a snap swivel to my hook anyways.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that, and this year I'm doing a little bit different. I used to just run Snell, like Eagle Claw Snell hooks, just buy the freaking pre-made Snells and then clip that onto the swivel. But this year I'm just running. I bought just the hooks.
Yeah.
And I'm running those. But the reason I do that is because there is times where I find I need to either upsize or downsize the hook, and it's a hell of a lot easier to just unsnap that swivel than to retie. Because with ice fishing, retying sucks because your line is fucking frozen and it breaks when you try to tie certain knots, and you have to kind of like thaw it to get it to cooperate. It's not worth it. So I had done that, but I do want to run some like, because the lake I fish a lot for ice fishing is that lake where they got that 40-inch like 12-pounder out of there, freaking massive pike. So I want to, they were doing like EWG hooks and bluegill for bait. You know, they were.
Instead of the EWG, I've always run the straight shank worm
Yep.
hook. But I like that on when you're running suckers or
Yep.
big baits for ice fishing tip ups. I like the way it lays down the bait. So I go in and then come back out and then come back up. So it lays flat against, it's literally on one side of the bait with the hook just barely exposed.
Yep. Yeah. I bought specifically to do more pike based fishing. I use like the worm hooks because it also keeps the line out of their mouth more.
Yep.
Because the taller shank keeps that keeps the line from rubbing on their teeth.
Yep.
Now, granted, I'm using for tip ups. It's funny because I invested all this money and upgraded all my gear, but I'm still using like 30-pound Berkeley big game for my leaders because
nothing wrong with it.
I have 1,000-yard spool of it and I might as well use it up. Well, that's the thing, dude. Like people ask me all the time, like, well, what do you use? I'm like, don't get me wrong, I have 4 or 5 set up with fluoro for finicky smallmouth. Matter of fact, on your lake, I noticed that they do get line shy, probably because of the pressure.
Well, geez, and crow, there's 1,000 tip ups on any given
Dude, those lakes, it's insane. Like it's a show. Like it's one of the few lakes that still has like the shanty town.
Yeah.
That gets set up. Like, but other than that, like I'm pretty much just I think it's 30 or 20, and it's even the green. It's not even like the clear. It's literally the green big.
Yeah, the green's stronger. I don't know why. I don't know that it really is. It just seems like it is.
It seems like it. Yeah, it's actually hard to cut it. Yeah, it's hard to cut it.
I bought 17 when I was learning how to skip.
Yeah,
I bought 17-pound, went heavy. I don't normally run heavy line.
Right.
And I bought that stuff and I could not break it. My God, I got one wrapped around when I was skipping it. I wrapped it up underneath the dock, and I was dock to dock fishing down in Florida in a little private lake, and it went up underneath there, and I couldn't get it out. And I had to jump off, leave my rod, run all the way around. Like it was stupid. I couldn't break it. It was 17-pound big.
Yeah, that's honestly that's probably a good kind of keeping us back on topic again. Is like, do you prefer? Like I used to use mono a lot as like a secondary, like a leader or whatever. But is there like, do you always use fluoro with certain bait or always use braid with a certain bait, or do you kind of vary it based on conditions?
For me, all my spinning rods are 10-pound braid down to, depending on where and what I'm doing, 12 to 8-pound fluoro. Yeah. All my spinning rods are always that, nothing different. Okay. And that's all wacky, or not wacky, but Ned, drop shot, or any kind of a swimming or strolling, that kind of thing. It's always all my spinning rods. That's all I do with them, and that's all I use them for. Then when I'm running jerk baits is fluoro, weightless is fluoro. Top water, I was for a while running a copolymer that would float. I've kind of gone away from that only because it's a pain to have one rod just for that.
Yep.
So I'm kind of back to fluoro. I do notice a difference on a spook, especially when I'm making really long casts. So I'll fish it, and then I see it to start to dig, and then I have to pop my rod high a couple of times. So I think I will probably go back to that this year because I didn't throw the spook as much this year as I normally do. And I think that hurt me in some of the tournaments when I had my limit. I don't think I upgraded because I wasn't throwing the bigger spook. You never know. And then all my chatterbaits, I run 30-pound braid. Like really slick 30-pound braid is really fine. Okay. So I can rip it through whatever I want. And then frog and looking pitching, I run 55-pound braid.
Okay. I found that mono for spooks specifically, the thing that's underrated or not talked about is the fact that you don't get your line caught in your trebles as much with mono. When you're doing the freaking walking the dog thing, for a while starts to get up under the hooks, and then it gets in the hook, and then you got to reel it all the way back because it does what me and Janelle have dubbed the Jersey roll, where the line gets hooked on the treble, and then the bait just rolls back to the bait. Whereas if you do it with like and copolymer, something that also I don't think people talk about enough is like that is a good hybrid for like a lot of beginning anglers that don't want to spend the money on fluoro but want the clearness. You do get like for a long time, and people don't really know this because they thought I was using fluoro, but like for a long time, dude, I was using Maxima Ultra Green. Old school is old school gets when it comes to copolymer, but that stuff was rock solid, and I was actually using it on tip ups and stuff too. But like, it had enough durability and enough abrasion resistance where you could fish it, but also what it did is it gave you that shock absorber that like if you didn't have a cranking rod, you could simulate to an extent a cranking rod with the stretch.
No, absolutely you can. That's the difference. You could turn any rod into what you want, changing your line. You know, you can make it extra heavy. You can make it a heavy or even a moderate heavy by adding mono. You can, you add 50-pound braid, you can make a lighter action rod or a cranking rod. You can stiffen it up. That's something people don't ever really talk about until you get into the weeds of it. Is your line can change your action of your rod by so much. People don't understand that.
It makes a big difference on your like also like jerk baits and stuff. Like
absolutely.
Your suspending jerk bait won't suspend if you go too high on your fluoro. It just Jesse, do you fish? I know what you fish for the most part. Are you using mostly braid or fluoro, or are you kind of mix match?
So I'm straight fluoro on everything except for frogging and flipping. My frog setup is 65-pound, and my flipping setup or punching and flipping setup is 80-pound braid. Everything else is all fluoro. I don't like the only top water I do is frogging. So
fair enough.
It's just personal preference, and yeah. So but yeah, I'm typically for like my cranking stuff, 12-pound fluoro, and for all my other stuff is like 18-pound. And then for the big swim baits is 20 or 25.
I'm going to be downsizing my finesse presentation. So I've pretty much run 12-pound fluoro on everything. And I used to do braid to leader on everything. Like I used to do every casting rod had braid, and then I would do a leader if I needed it. I started going straight fluoro on a lot of my casting gear because it was a confidence thing. It was a financial decision of like when I was doing the braid the fluoro deal, it was because I wanted the like clearness, but I didn't want to like worry about birds nesting. Yeah.
You're white.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you hook up with Reaction Tackle and you say, "Hey, I'm going to a trade show with Fish Extreme." As I say, I got like 2 shipper cases of braid, and yeah, dude, we're talking like store stock cases. The thing about finesse fishing that I learned is that 12 pounds too big in some cases. It just
the only time I run 12 is on my leader when it's really gnarly. You can get a couple more casts out of it before you have to retire.
And I used to have this delusion, and I've gotten better about it. What happened is I used to buy Vanish for a while, but there's something about 10-pound Vanish that makes that shit tissue paper versus 12-pound Vanish. Anything, and a couple of the brands, Seagar's another one, just to not pick on Berkeley, that when you get below 12-pound, I started having a lot more breakoffs, and it was pissing me off. And I found that the 10-pound fluoro I had problems with, so I just kind of
What
stuck
knot
with
do you
12.
tie?
What's that?
What knot do you tie with your
It
fluoro?
depends on the style. A lot of times it's just polymer, but
I'll be honest with you. Anything under, for me, anything 10 pound or less, I cannot tie a polymer with fluoro.
okay.
It breaks every freaking time.
And that might be my problem then. That makes
I don't
sense.
know why that is, but that's that. I swear by my fluoro, I will not tie a polymer anymore.
What do you do for an
I
option?
tie that. There's two different ones now. One, some people call it a shark knot or the San Diego Jam. So it's a San Diego Jam, and the shark knot's very similar to the San Diego Jam.
I'm gonna have to try that.
That's all I do. That's all I do is the San Diego Jam, and then like the double Palomar for the braid.
Oh,
Or
a
the,
polymer on the braid all day.
Yeah, Palomar.
Yeah, except for I'll do a Snell on my punching setup.
Yeah, I do too. When I'm flipping, I do a Snell. I do a shank with a Snell.
See, dude, you know what's funny is I'm still learning the Snell because I always do it backwards. And anybody who knows it is laughing at me, and everybody who doesn't know it has no idea what I'm talking about.
At first, I was like, no, there's no way. I understand the concept. When you hit the weight to it, it kicks up, and I'm like, there's no way that changes your hookup ratio.
It does, and when you do it right,
yeah,
it does make a difference.
Absolutely.
It definitely.
I have not missed one flipping fish yet. Now I've had one come off because I hit it so hard I ripped them out of the grass and sent them flying.
Right.
But I still hooked them.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you do it right, you give them a nose piercing.
Absolutely.
From the inside. If there every time. But when you do it wrong, you're hooking them in the side and that like weird muscle in the fat of their lip, and that's what I see. That's the thing is I also don't run flipping hooks, true flipping hooks as much. I do run a lot of like EWGs, or I run like the twist lock EWGs sometimes for Texas rigging, but I did get into Dark Horse had the Vector flipping hooks, and those were freaking solid. Like those were freaking awesome. And then they had something else that I bought from them that was the same kind of deal, and it was like, but the Snell has some advantages when you do it right. I'm gonna have to definitely play around with knots because, like I said, I want to get into the Ned stuff, and 12 pounds pushing the top.
No, I throw my Neds on it. I just go with the next size up. So I pour my own Neds.
Right.
I just jump up a size when I'm running the 12.
Fair enough.
Depending on, again, I could go all the way to the biggest or whatever. But like if I got that fall rate down and I'm in an area where I'm getting beat up and I'm really getting nicked up, I always have a rod with 12. So I'll just switch to the 12, and then I just go the next size up on the hook that I'm finding that gives me the feel I want and the fall rate I want.
Okay.
I jump up the next size when I go to 12 from 10 or 8.
Got it.
That's how I get away with it.
That makes sense. Yeah, because I've got to figure out the whole like I'm not a finesse fisherman. Like wacky rig is that's it. That's the only finesse.
That's as finesse as it gets in my brain. But.
It is, but that's the only that's it. Like if they're not biting that, then I'm done. Like if it's a finesse bite and they're not biting that, I'm shit out of luck because I will dabble to those like finesse like freaking HH Customs makes these koosh ball jigs.
Yeah.
So it's a little ball. And it's a Ned style hook with a ball, and it's got a finesse cut skirt. Those are money. I started getting those from Dark Horse when I hooked up with them, and like I've caught fish on those in the past. But what's nice about those is it kind of has like mentally, I'm throwing a jig. It's a fucking Ned. It's a skirted Ned. Like it's a smaller weight. It's just the ball is kind of cool because what's cool about that is it doesn't get hung on rocks and stuff because it's completely round.
Yeah, and is that more stiffer, a little bit stiffer rubber, so it bounces more on the bottom.
Yeah, and
I want to look at those. I haven't seen those yet.
Yeah, if you go to shameless plug here, if you go to darkhorsetackle.com, they have HH Customs and he makes a cool trailer. I'm actually going to show you guys this one because you'll like this. You actually would like this probably for Ned fishing, Chris. HH makes this freaking plastic trailer. This thing right here, it's called the Koosh Craw. Let me freaking share the screen. This thing is money on a Ned head.
That looks.
So it's only 2.5 inches.
Yeah.
And it's got just the two little flappy legs.
Yeah.
But it's like this is just small enough that it fits perfect on like a Ned or
are you
like
threading it on, or are you just nose hooking it?
both actually. With that Koosh that so this same guy they make these are like this is one of their finesse jigs that they make.
Yeah.
So it has that like round ball on it. And then they also have like they have big boy ones too. Like I was fishing, I think it's this one. No, it's so like they have this like this one's an actual like full size hook.
Oh wow.
But it's got a big old like freaking but they actually do the magic thread instead of the stupid wire or the rubber band that falls apart. But they actually have a weed guard on this one. So, but it's like this big, like probably that big. So it's small size, but that particular trailer, see if I can actually figure out how to stop the screen share now. That craw trailer thing, you throw that on a Ned head and it has like the little flappy. So when you drag it, it kind of like kicks across the bottom. But that's the kind of crap that like I need to get into. I'm even considering a BFS setup next year just to get into the. I'm never going to be like a BFS fisherman. It's realistically, it's not going to happen. But being able to throw those like 1/16 ounce small ass freaking jigs and little tiny baits, you get the sensitivity, the castability. I can do a lot of it with my Fish Extreme spinning, but like I also
we got a couple rods you could try that I think. I mean, I haven't ever used a BFS reel or a true BFS rod. Our 7.2 is phenomenal. I throw nets on that. That's my versatile when I'm going. If I'm a co-angler, that's my backup rod. I always have that rod because I can throw a jerkbait on it because it's a great jerkbait rod.
Right.
I could throw. It's a little light for throwing like a weightless, but you could throw a wacky on it. But I use it. I bring it so I could throw, like if I'm going to have to throw some kind of a deeper diving crank, a smaller. When I need a versatile rod, if they're telling me I'm going to go, hey, we're going to go back in the weeds. Okay, I'm grabbing all my chatterbaits and I'm grabbing my frog rod. But then I always bring that rod with me because if we're going to stop out here on this rock pile. Well, fuck, you didn't tell me that. So now what do? So that's when I always have that rod as my backup. And I've thrown 8th ounce Ned on that. And I took second in a tournament one day on that one rod all day long. Because my guy's like, oh, we're going to go up in the weeds. And then he's like, no, we're going to stop here at the bridge. And then after I had 2 before he had 1, he's like, oh, we're going to stay here at the bridge. And so I just use that one rod all day long.
Now, is that a light or a medium?
It's a 7.2 medium, but it's a medium extra fast. But it's so long that it's basically the same as the 6.9 jerkbait rod, the 6.9 medium extra fast. It's the same exact rod. It's just that much longer. And I throw that. I run 8-pound test on a Tatula TWS. So with that 8-pound, it's really I can still cast it really far. It's a great rod.
Next time we fish together, I might bring that with you.
Yeah, I will.
Because
I got to figure out which rod has the 8-pound. I probably should lace some new on it.
Something that I learned from Josh from Dark Horse is something I didn't even think about is like throw a BFS reel is kind of a hybrid. So like it's a BFS reel, but it's designed in a way that there's like a switch to change the braking system around.
Oh.
So you can throw more traditional baits on it, but then flip a switch and it changes the speed of the spool and all that. So then what it does is it allows you to kind of be more versatile up and down. Because the main reason I stayed away from BFS is because I'm like, I'm not going to throw 1/32 ounce fucking
all day long.
So I have a rod in my arsenal that and like Jesse kind of talked about a couple episodes or maybe last episode, like this is what happens with kayak angling specifically. You find that number. There's that number. It's 9, 10, 7, 8. There's a number of rods that you're comfortable with in your kayak that you either are just not using the other rods, so it's a waste of your time to have them, or it's inconvenient in some way where, like, when I get past 10, I now have to take a rod out to put a rod back because I only have so many holders, and it ruins the flow of fishing.
Right.
Yeah.
It just does.
I found that out this year when I was running 8 rods on the side, like on my black pack. I had that thing like maxed out. So I had 8 rods there plus an additional rod holder. So I was bringing 9 rods at the time, and I'm like, man, at most I'm using 4 of these freaking things. The other ones I bring with me just to screw around with, and I'm like, nah, I got to be more efficient with that.
And what I found too was going like off into this rabbit hole is like, it's more important to have what I was doing, and I realized really quickly, and Chris honestly is part of my financial distress, is that he does stuff like what he just did. He's really good at convincing me that I need another rod. Is like, you don't need 6 medium heavy fasts. You need a couple medium heavy fast, a couple, maybe a medium, a heavy fast. Like, that's what I learned is like, okay, I have a swim jig rod, but that swim jig rod is a medium heavy fast. So that can be a lot of things. But then I have a heavy fast. That's my frog rod. But guess what, guys? I'm going to crush a whole lot of people's hopes and dreams. A fucking heavy fast frog rod is a fucking swim bait rod too.
Can be.
If you get the right action, which the one I have is,
or the right line, you can
the right line. Like, I literally throw my mag drafts, I throw my jointed swim baits, I throw my freaking glide baits on my frog rod. Because why? My frog rod can handle up to 2 ounces. It's a moderate action. It's everything I need it to be. Is it going to be perfect for swim baits? No. But am I having one rod that's dedicated to a bait that I'm throwing 4 times in an outing? No. But that's the thing, is like having a variety of, like, having a medium powered rod is something that I was always like, I don't know why I would need a medium power rod. I just do it with a medium heavy. I'll tell you what, you throw a jerk bait on a medium power rod and then throw it on your medium heavy and then tell me what the difference is.
Yeah.
It's a whole different fucking experience.
I can put a rod in anybody's hand and for the jerk bait, and they will just feeling it without even throwing it. You're like, oh, this is the rod I need. And then you throw it and you have better control. And people are like, how do you control a jerk bait? You really have better control.
You do.
With that, with the right rod.
And speaking of that, and I'm gonna foray into this, and I said I wasn't gonna do this, and Jesse's smirking over there. But what did you or are you getting from Douglas for rods that you're picking up first? What's the first few rods that you're gonna start with?
So I like going back to what you were talking about with like the medium heavy, medium fast, whatever, that sort of stuff. I look at it differently. I look at, okay, I'm going to need a versatile moving treble hook rod, a reaction treble.
This defines Chris so well. The no pressure, but I'll put it in your hands and get you addicted to it and let you buy one.
Right? Yeah. So I'm going to be doing a reaction treble or reaction single, a bottom contact, the frog rod, the punch rod, and then a swim bait rod. Like, that's how, but I'm looking for a versatile swim bait rod that's going to be able to throw single hook baits, like jig hook baits, as well as glide baits. So and Christian was like, oh, you actually have a couple of rods that can do that for you.
They're
the only one that I've seen that has a comparable lineup to like Fish Extreme.
They're close. They're
not. I don't know if they have as many SKUs as we do, but
no, they have more.
Do they?
So you got to remember, Douglas did not start out in the bass game. They
True.
started out. I mean, they run fly rods. They run
True.
steelhead
I
rods.
forgot they had.
I mean, they got some
fly.
beautiful steelhead rods.
That's true.
Yeah.
I forgot about steelhead stuff.
But what they have, I think it's now 4 models in the bass fishing realm.
Mhm.
I know a lot of guys that run the Douglas at the shows. You know, we hang out.
Yep.
Their higher end rod, in my opinion, it's a great rod, but in my opinion, you're paying more for what you get with our same level rod. Our same level rod costs less, and theirs costs more. Their middle is close. They still pay a little more, and I think we get a little better features out of our Extreme Angler. But our Carbon series, their lower level is as comparable, if not, honestly, almost better in certain aspects. For the same price range.
That $99 line, I looked at it when Jesse messaged me. I looked at those and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, they nailed it with those. Douglas did but they just came out with those. That was again, I started with FX 7 years ago now. And when Douglas wasn't coming to the shows at that time, and I don't even know where they were in the bass realm.
Right.
I know their fly rods and their steelhead rods and trolling rods were phenomenal. I don't know where they were back when I started with FX, but when they first started coming to the shows, I was looking at people walking away with those, and you see me at the show. I'm always like, I don't care if you buy this rod or not, but whatever you do buy, bring it back. Most people won't. They feel embarrassed to come talk to you.
Right.
I really want them to tell me why they switched or went to something different.
Michael says LRS 715 is a great rod, which is funny because that was the one that Christian was picking out for me in the X Matrix for my frog rod.
Yeah, it's a great frog rod.
Yeah.
It is. And they're good rods, don't get me wrong. I mean, what does the LRS line run retail?
I think I was looking at them, they're like 275, 280, something like that.
Right. So I will compare them with our $189. That's the difference. And component wise is, unless they've changed, and they may have, I haven't picked one up in 2 years, but component wise, ours were as good, if not better, for $189.
Right.
And that was the difference. Don't get me wrong, that's a great rod. I do like their rods. But to put a rod in somebody's hand, now what I do know is that they went out last year, and I think it was the LRS line. They were at the shows, they were buy one, get one. And I'm like, I can't compete with that. Yeah. So people are walking out with that. I go, hey, you got a great deal on those. But what put that at $199 now. So they've come down, and maybe that's the difference. They've come down to basically $10 more than ours. So that is a good price point for that rod. And I'll be honest, that's a great price point for the rod.
As a pro stopper for FX, I haven't had anybody. Like I know guys that use Douglas stuff, and none of them have like. You hear like guys like, oh, fucking lose, I broke them, or whatever. Like I haven't heard a lot of guys really complain about like the quality or anything like that on those.
Either. I don't know of any major complaints about their rods.
Not sure what Michael's talking about, because I'm looking at Douglas right now, the LRS side, and they're all between 240 and 280.
That's what I thought. I thought they were 240 to 280, and that's another thing that we used to do that, and that's one of those things. What basically happens is you can buy a rod that's built exactly the same. You start adding length and eyes and stuff, and that price range has to go up.
Yep.
FX used to do that. Now we've took in the high road and said, okay, this is the happy medium. That's the price.
Yep.
We used to, when I first started, it was a $10 to $20 swing on the same model. Now it's one price point.
Yeah. Yep. And that's just to go down the rabbit hole just a minute for you guys, because I know we're talking baits, but you can't throw a bait without a rod. It's funny how rods will dictate what baits you start to throw.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't throw a lot of swim baits until I got a good like rod that I could throw swim baits on. Because I'll tell you right now, you guys can throw a 1 ounce fucking swim bait on a medium
Man, I'm
heavy.
sick. I'll catch a fish.
You could throw it on a medium heavy fast, and it'll work. I caught. Matter of fact, my PB largemouth was caught on a mag draft on a medium heavy fast rod. Now that's pushing the end of that capability of that rod, and it's not exactly easy to sink those treble hooks with a 1 ounce bait and keep them pinned, but you can do it. But when you start getting like a cranking rod, you start getting a frog rod, then you start going, ooh, well, maybe I should get this other frog because I have a rod specialized for it. Or you get a jerk. I think what you might actually see though is you might actually see some more retail options for JDM direct.
I was just gonna say, I think some of those JDM websites are gonna open up.
You're gonna see some of those companies stop doing the whole you got to go through this guy to talk to that guy to get the bait, and they're just gonna open up a direct retail site. Like Mega Bass is funny because Mega Bass is JDM. Is JDM as JDM gets, but they're also US market heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you get Mega Bass at fucking hardware store now. Like it's those baits are becoming more and more readily available because they're popular. It's just specific colors, specific baits. They'll hit the JDM market first, or they won't hit here at all.
Michael makes a good point on the tariffs. So what I'm seeing right now on the website is anywhere from $219 all the way up to $289. He might have bought because he's saying he bought his for $140 on sale and they retail for $199. So that was probably before the tariffs all kicked in.
Probably.
Now, Michael, the Matrix, I believe, I'm not sure. I think the LRS was their high end, and about 2 years ago is when the Matrix came out and became their high end.
Yeah.
It kicked the LRS backwards. I think that's how they did that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not an expert on Douglas. I know a couple of the guys from the trade show. They're good people. Yeah. It's a good rod. Really
yeah, it is. They definitely are.
Yeah, I'll be looking forward to trying them out. But yeah, going back to
I'll tell you what rods not to buy too. But
yeah.
No, going back to what you were saying though, my first couple of rods are probably going to end up being like, without a doubt, it'll be single hook reaction for the chatterbaits, and then probably a bottom contact for my jigging and Texas rig.
Makes sense.
And the way you're speaking, it aligns with Douglas very well because, like, 715, and that's the weight and the speed is how they kind of do their numbers, So we do medium, heavy. One of the reasons why we do ours the way we do, rather than, like Douglas or G. Loomis, or there's another company that does the numbers. The rod companies that do the numbers, it's the same.
Shimano does that a lot too.
Yeah, the reason why we do what we do is because the mainstream fisherman understands those better than the numbers. You have to go into the weeds. You have to go deeper to understand what a 715 is.
Yeah. I did talk to Christian for a while, and because those numbers were a little confusing to me at first because
Dobbins, that's right.
So the Douglas rods, their medium would be like a medium heavy in another line.
Be careful. Be careful. You should go to a show and put them in your hand. I'll tell you that. Jesse, if you want to spend a night in our hotel room, come down. I'm assuming the Douglas boys will be there, and put them in your hand, because I disagree with him on that if he's telling you that. And again, it's only certain lines. Their lines are different, same as ours. Yeah. Our Carbon series is softer than our Extreme Angler series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was my thought, was the way that their ratings on them made them seem like they were a power heavier than what they are.
Gotcha.
If you like, so for example, they have medium, but you can throw a 3/16 of an ounce on it. I'm like, that sounds like a light to me, but okay.
Right.
And I have to say it, Michael, you mean GSM Outdoors? that was a sad, like, that was a bad situation. I'm not even gonna get into it, but that whole Dobbins deal, that was fucked.
Yeah, that
The
didn't
way
work
they
out.
handled that. But that's one thing I will say, guys. So basically, he sold out to. He didn't. I don't want to say sell out. He sold the brand with given assurances as to what would happen with the brand and the employees, and that didn't happen.
Yep.
Michael, that's a great question. There's a couple problems with that. I mean, it would be really nice.
It would be cool, but
One thing that Bob with FX did is he actually created a power ranking, and he does it by grams. How many grams it takes to deflect the tip? I think it's 16 inches. I'd have to brush up on it. And that's really the only true way to do something like that, because the other problem with all of that is as I was saying, our carbon series is softer than our extreme angler series, which is a little softer than our titanium series.
Yep.
And that's all because of the components, right? So same thing with the Douglas. You go with the Matrix down to the LRS. The LRS is probably a little softer than a Matrix. And then I can't remember what their more affordable line is, but same thing. And it's because of what those components are. In FX, we run 30 ton or 35 ton Turret carbon. We run 40 and we run 46. And that's the difference. And that's the higher number in Turret carbon fiber, the higher the number, the crisper, the lighter, and then so on and so forth. You go down in the numbers. And that's why it's so hard to get a standard power in action.
And you guys also have to remember that a 7.6 rod versus a 7.1 rod versus a 7.3 rod.
Yep.
Fast is fast, but it's not, because you got a little bit more tip there than you do another rod.
Yeah, we got a 7.4 medium in the spinning, and we got a 7 foot medium in the spinning. That 7 foot medium is quicker than that 7.4.
And then that's how it is. It's just there's only so much you can do in the tip of a rod that it's and honestly, in a way, I used to think that was a good idea, but I actually like that every company has their own, because it lets you find what you like.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, like, I bought in this pile right here. I shouldn't say this out loud, but there's non-Fish Extreme rods in there. I have a couple of rods that I bought from Daiwa that I like.
Yep.
But as a general rule, I mean, out of the freaking 11 rods that I'm running, almost all of them are FX except for one. But like Chris was saying, it's weird because you would think, oh, well, he's pro staff for them, so he's buying their higher end rods. I have more of the carbon than I do the Extreme Angler. I love the Extreme Anglers, but there's certain things about the carbon that I liked, the softness and the way they felt. Like, for example, a chatterbait rod, I like the carbon better than the Extreme Angler because of the way because it's softer. And there's
now the difference is your hook set, right? Like,
and that is
that game.
So that's where something like that kind of comes into play is.
But you do set the hook harder than I do, so.
It's not even healthy, to be honest, but.
So, I mean, and that's the thing, with all these baits, our favorite baits, whatever, like Jesse's leaning more towards the chatterbait and that kind of stuff and flipping and stuff. The right rod matters more than anything else when it comes to that hook set. The weight, Jesse, you were talking about what it will throw. We underrate all of our rods for the ounces of a lure. Every rod that we sell is underrated. So I have, and when you talk about swim baits, we have a rod that'll throw us, I think it's labeled up to 6 ounce.
Yeah, it is 6 ounce.
Technically, it'll throw an 8.
Yeah.
But because we know, Bob knows that fishermen aren't intelligent, we will always push the limits.
Always.
Yep. So if we rate it at 6 and you throw an 8, you're okay. If we rate it at 6 and you throw an 8 and it really is a 6, you got a chance of breaking that rod.
Yep.
And you can run the same exact blank and have it rated differently. Our flipping rod and our swim bait rod are the same exact blank for the bigger rods. The difference is when you're flipping, your hook set is way different and you cast differently, right? So that's why we can throw a 6 ounce but you can only throw a 2 ounce on the flipping or a 3 ounce
Yep.
because the flipping rod, we don't want you setting the hook. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. It's
Yep.
there's ways around all of it. And that
Yeah.
question Michael had that's
Mhm.
part of why it's hard to come up with that standard.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a weird thing. Trying to think. Do you guys throw, and I'm thinking about getting in this next year, do you guys throw like soft flukes at all? Or is it like Texas rigged and or actually throwing them like a regular fluke? Because I'll flip them sometimes, but I don't ever fish them like an actual fluke.
I just don't mind it. I run the caffeine shad, so it's really not a fluke, and I throw it weightless.
Right. Okay.
And I throw it like I'm flipping it.
Okay. That's kind of what I've done.
What I will do is, especially in the spring when the thicker, not cattails, but bull reeds or
Yep.
the pintail reeds, I call them, whatever, the stuff that's growing up out of the water. When that starts to get thick, I will throw it in to to what I would consider a primary spot for the bass might be. And then if there's nothing and there's a weed line out beyond it, I will then jerkbait fish it back to the boat.
Okay. The reason why I asked is because I'm thinking about like my home lake, for example. There's that main area that I fish.
Yeah.
That would be prime
Now that I know that lake, absolutely.
Prime soft jerk bait.
I had one tied on there for when I was over on that other shoreline fishing the docks. That's what I was using in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, your area that you like to fish, you could throw that around in there anywhere.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where like I think a lot of people put too much stock into like trends and new school baits, and I have a bunch of baits. I'm going to be getting that freaking chop block from Berkeley. I'm going to order a couple of them probably next week because I want to try some of these trendy baits. But like, I think to kind of like wrap this one up a little bit is don't hesitate to go old school and throw a fluke, throw a freaking wacky rig, throw a Texas rig. Don't think you have to chase all these like freaking dice baits and all this stuff to catch fish. You know, stick with what you're comfortable with, but also know that what you guys just heard, I mean, 20 different rabbit holes about other stuff too, but like me and Jesse kind of fish very similar, but that's also, I will tell you, one of the biggest things is there's a reason for it. Me and him fish pretty much the same bodies of water. We're not fishing in the same side of the state, but I've fished some of the main lakes that he fishes, and it's the same style of fishing. Whereas Chris, his lakes around him you almost become a certain style of fisherman based on what lakes you get to fish the most often, because that's what's going to bite. And then you get that confidence and then you go down that rabbit hole with that confidence. But
that's where the finesse fishing for me took off, is on that one lake.
Yeah.
Well, both
and I can see that. That's the lake I'm going to do a lot of that practice on, because it's got deeper sections. It's got hard bottom.
It's got hard bottom shallow, hard bottom deep. Yeah.
And honestly, when I get so fucking sick of it and I'm not catching fish, I'm just going to go to the other side and I'm going to go throw a swim jig in that grass flat, and then I'll pull fish out of there too. So, but that's what I mean by like the favorite bait thing. Take it with a grain of salt that you don't have to throw everything that everybody talks about on the freaking YouTube channels and stuff like that. You can get, basic with it too. If you see me throwing fuzzy baits, feel free to. Dude, I'm telling you,
I won't throw a dice though. I'm not going to do that. I'm not throwing
I'm not going to spend.
I will make a fuzzy lure, but I will not throw a dice.
Well, you know what's funny is Tight Lines UV has been making those fucking baits.
Oh, somebody said it's like 15 years.
For fucking ever.
I think that's the company. Somebody said it was like 15 years ago they made those.
Dude, Tight Lines UV, I bought Senko style worms like when I started bass fishing like 5 years ago, that had skirt material threaded through them, and I thought it was a cool idea. I didn't have a ton of success with them. But they were doing it so long ago, and they got to be so pissed that like they sold a lot of baits, but like all of a sudden this is the craze and it's the newest thing in the world, dude. Yeah. And they had swim jigs with it in it. They had Ned baits with it. They had craws. They had every single type of plastic with silicone skirting threaded through them. And their baits are kind of cool. I think that's honestly what hurt them is the UV side, because all of their baits are UV.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And I think there is some situations where the UV doesn't help. If anything, it might hurt you. But like that's another thing is like we'll go down this rabbit hole in a different episode, guys. But like, don't go crazy with colors either. Find the colors that work for you and stick with them. Deviate a little bit here or there to play around, but you don't have to go fucking chase the rainbow.
I'll tell you what, you want a color that's going to cover multiple spectrums successfully. You're going to want that freaking, it's like the green pumpkin and black blue.
Yep.
You go with that and you're covering everything from natural all the way to, contrasting.
That freeloader, that's the one I throw. The black blue with the green pumpkin belly. And that
I like two-tone myself. Like that belly is a different color. Anything that looks like a shad or a minnow, I always have a different color belly on it.
Well, and I say that a lot is like, it's funny because I throw straight black a lot too. And this is something that I always quiz people that ask me, like, what's the best colors and stuff. And I'm like, the two-tone colors. Or like the other thing you can do is like, so throw a contrasting color as a trailer.
Yeah, the tip or the nose.
So you do something that's different. Like if you're throwing a green pumpkin Ned, throw a black blue trailer or whatever. You can vary that up because go to your lake and look at every single fish that you catch and tell me which one of those is a single color.
Right.
Even a shiner,
even a crawdad,
has a different colored back, or crawdad has different colored claws or shell.
Same thing, right? The belly's different than the back.
Nothing in nature is one color.
Right.
Nothing is. So you have that contrast colors, and don't be afraid to like mix and match your colors, because you'd be surprised how like and it doesn't have to be like granular like either.
Exactly.
Like white and gold, and I pair that up to a freaking golden shiner colored chatterbait, and it works beautifully.
Yeah, because that's the belly color of that, right? It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And gold is actually sneaky. Like if you get a true gold colored trailer, it will go with almost any bait. Like
even hard baits in gold, black and gold hard bait too.
Yep.
Especially on Champlain.
Yeah. Champlain's gold's one of those, like even like gold blades or gold.
All my spinner baits have two different color blades. Every single spinner bait I buy, two different color blades.
Yep.
That's a whole different rabbit hole. That's something I'm going to play around with next year too. Is I want to buy like a set of blades, because there is times, it sounds as stupid as it is, that you can throw a different colored blade and it suddenly makes a difference on whether they'll bite it or not.
Yep.
Champlain makes sense though, because you got like a lot of different forage in there.
Yeah, and the water can vary so much in one area.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We got a lot of crystal clear water, especially now. It's the zebra mussels are cleaning it up even more and more. But
right,
you go to St. Albans Bay. It can be 3 different colors in a week. Missisquoi is worse than that even.
Oh, big time, yeah. Dude, what's funny is come down by me and fish Champlain.
Right. Oh, you can go. Same thing. You go to the bridge. It's dirty. It's clean.
Yeah, it's weird. It's mixing down there. Like down by Larrabee's, dude, it's chocolate milk down there. There's zero visibility down by me.
Yeah.
And it's like milfoiled to hell.
Oh.
You go to Benson Landing, you can't even get through there.
Nothing wrong with that. Milfoil's awesome.
No, I love all that.
Says the best fishing shit in the world.
That's another whole rabbit hole we can go down.
The only thing I like better is lily pads, but milfoil always has fish.
Always.
Especially on Champlain. If you find it, you'll find fish.
I wish there was hydrilla in this state.
Yeah, I don't know anything about hydrilla. I mean, maybe I do.
Yeah.
A couple of the places I fish in Florida with my dad, but I don't know if it's hydrilla or not.
Yeah, I've never been able to identify like I'm like, I can identify milfoil, but that's about it.
So after being on Gunnersville, I was able to identify quite a few different species of grass, and hydrilla was like the biggest one, and that's where I got a lot of my big fish from. So I was like, yep, I wish we had this up in our state.
Yeah, if you find good milfoil patches, you'll find. Well, you know that on one of your lakes up there, they hang in that milfoil like crazy up there.
Oh yeah,
the problem is they can see you from fucking 30 feet away.
It is like nothing but freaking milfoil, and they love that shit.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it is because the milfoil collects a lot of bacteria, which creates algae, which creates a huge habitat for bluegill, and then the bass just creates a bass buffet because you got the bluegill and the perch eating all the bacteria and algae, and then the circle of life kind of goes around.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I gotta learn how to not be a grass fisherman. I fucking hate saying that out loud, but I've got to learn some diversified baits and start learning hard bottom, because if I want to go outside of Vermont and catch fish, that's what honestly what I learned when I fished MAKB.
Right.
I got my face beat in down in Mass because if it wasn't a grass bite, I was fucked.
Yeah.
And I need to, and even a couple of our tournaments this year, there was the fish I did catch were grass fish. Like even on lakes that I shouldn't have been catching grass fish. That's what I ended up doing because that's what I had to do. But so Jesse, you're doing that one trail, and I'm assuming you're still doing your monthly stuff with KBF, or are you?
Yeah, the monthly thing though, I'm only going as long as I need to. So if I win the first 3, then I won't be doing any more after that. At least until the regionals kick off. So
well, if you get itching for a monthly, I know a new tournament director that is going to be running a monthly every month. That's going to be New England based.
Well, yeah, you're doing that jigs and bigs, right? Yeah.
So more details will come on that, but it's going to be New England specific.
Yeah,
we're going to start with that.
Michael, I don't think we have water chestnuts anymore. I think we used to, which is weird. I thought that stuff was invasive, but I don't think we do anymore. That's a weird one, that water chestnut stuff. You see that or fish that?
No, I've never seen that.
That's craziness, that stuff. That stuff's like you can't break it.
Yeah, it's like super.
That sounds almost like the freaking water lettuce that we have growing up in Pensioner, dude. That stuff is a pain in the ass to try and run baits through.
Yeah,
like it will not like if you get tangled up in that, you're gonna be dragging in the entire mat because it does not make it easy.
Yeah. Well, you'll get that with like the long running stocks of milfoil. You run a chatterbait through it and it just won't come out. Like it's just
it'll break at the root instead of
you'll end up like you'll hook onto it and then you're dragging 20 pounds of fucking grass with your chatterbait up.
Yep.
So see, the Hudson's another place. That's another one of those bucket lists. Like I want to do the whole striper thing on the Hudson.
Yeah. Well, remember I've been in a boat from the Coast Guard station in Burlington all the way down out through New York City. So, it connects. That might be why there's chestnuts there, is because I think that's probably where I fished them, is down on the southern end before.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I always thought those ones were like milfoil and they never go away. But I say that, but some of my best milfoil mats are gone. I can't find them anymore. I don't know what's happened in the last 5 years, but on Champlain, there are spots where people would never even think of pulling up to fish. And I used to know where there were some wicked good mats of milfoil, and they're gone, completely gone.
Yeah, I can tell you where they went. It's called Priscillicor.
Well, they weren't supposed to do that on Champlain.
Yeah, they aren't supposed to fucking do it at Bombazine either. But I can tell you, there's some places that had some really weird colored water a few times. Right. Matter of fact, Maury,
like, holy cow, that was weird. That one spot.
Fucking Maury had a bunch of, and I don't think it's the state that's the problem.
That might be.
I think it's a little bucket biology landowner shit. But yeah,
there was a section there. It wasn't very big. It was like a 20 by 20 area or whatever. But it was.
You know the dock line that me and you talked about, Jesse. That's across from the ramp.
Yeah.
There was a couple of the docks closer to the point
Yeah.
that, dude, it was like the weirdest shit you've ever seen. It was like you would cast a bait through. It was like cloudy as fuck, right?
Oh yeah, I
But you
remember
cast
what
a
you're
bait.
talking about. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you'd cast a bait through it and it wouldn't react. Like
Yeah.
it just disappeared. You're like,
So it was almost
what
like
is
an algae bloom, but it wasn't actually algae.
Correct.
it looked a lot like a blue-green algae bloom, but it was
Yep.
white.
It was more down on the bottom.
Yep.
It was more towards the bottom, and it refused to react to
Yeah.
anything. Like it was just your bait would just disappear in it, and it was just cloudy.
Yep. So before we end up calling it a night, does anybody know a place where I could send my reels for a good cleaning?
I do. There's a couple that go to the shows actually, but I sent mine. I had a problem with 2 of my reels.
Yeah.
And, well, I ended up sending 3. I'll get it to you. My gosh, what is the name of that guy? Hold on. Give me a second.
Okay.
Keep talking. I'm going to find it because this is a good one. This guy was phenomenal and treated me really well.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I just want to get my my Corrados up to, because they're a little dried out after that season, so they're a little grimy.
It's that's I'm gonna end up my when my Shimano DC. That's gonna be one of the ones that I end up making sure I keep cleaned and maintained. A lot of my other reels are, I'll admit, like it's funny because I talk about all this high end shit, and then I'm like, yeah, all my Cast King reels. Like I don't give a shit if I have to just replace them.
Yep.
Ready,
Like people,
Jesse?
Yep.
Delaware Valley Tank.
Yeah. Yep. No, it was Michael.
Oh,
Bradley
right there.
right.
Michael just put it up.
Yep.
Jesus, Mike, you're
Yep.
quick. That guy
That's
was
funny.
phenomenal. Did a great job. He did my Metanium, and he did my 2 of my Tatulas that were, my anti-reverse was just slipping, and I thought I screwed him up and got grease up in there or something like that. And
Yeah.
he said there was a little in there. It's just they needed to be clean, and I'm like, well, how does the flipper not work? And he said it's just when they get dirty, it doesn't engage all the way. So you have to do spinning bait casters. My Metanium was never brand new. It never casted as good as some of my older Shimanos, like cheaper Shimanos. I have 2 sixes from the from the 90s. They're probably not from the 80s, but they still cast.
So let's see. I got my Metanium, the 71 DC, and then I just picked up a brand new Bantam, but I got all my Corrados that I want to send out to get cleaned. I got 4 of
I'm
those.
jealous. I want a Bantam so bad. I have a Bantam from 1982.
Damn.
And it still cast very well. It was my very first baitcaster that I bought. And then I have, and that's a silver. And then I have an old Bantam 2 that my dad had. That's a little bit newer than that, but not much. They were both from the 80s. When they came back out with the Bantam, I wanted one so bad. I just couldn't stop.
I wish my wife was still listening because she thinks I have too expensive of shit, and these guys are talking about their fucking Bantams. Are you kidding?
My original Bantam is older than you probably, so that's different.
Fair enough.
The newer one, I don't own because I can't justify buying it.
Yeah.
My first Bantam came from what the hell is it? Japan, Digitaka. And so there was a JDM, but I fell in love with that reel because I got my PB Pike off that thing. I freaking hauled in I guarantee that I didn't get a weight on it, but she was probably close to 15 pounds. 37 inches, 15 pounds, and that fish was peeling dry. Like I didn't realize like the caliber of pike that were in Moore Reservoir there, and until I hooked into that thing, and holy shit! But that Bantam, handled it pretty good. I mean, she was still peeling drag, but she handled it good. And ever since then, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get another one.
Shoot, my old Sitka, I got a 14.86 pike on my old Bantam. Or I'm not Bantam, on my old Sitka. And that reel handled it well. And the Shimano's are great reels. I do
Yeah,
say
yeah.
right now I'm leaning more towards the Daiwas. I think the castability is just a smidge better.
Dude, I tell you what, this freaking 200M is like, this was my workhorse
Good
reel
job.
all freaking year long. Like,
Yeah,
I
what is
love
it?
this thing.
What one is it?
It's the 200M. It's that new one they came out with,
Yeah.
was it the year before last?
Yeah.
And I also, so I've got 2 of those in the 200M, and I've got 2 of the 150 MGLs. And
Yeah.
freaking love them.
Yeah, Michael, that is the exact reel my dad's is that I still have, and then mine was the silver one, which was the Bantam. I can't remember, but mine was the silver one, and I bought mine from a store that is way no longer anymore, but it was in downtown Burlington, and it was Greer's, I think it was called, or something like that. I can't remember.
Chris, do you remember what the prices on for the guy doing the reel cleanings?
40.
$40 a reel.
I think it's 40. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And that's just a cleaning, and he'll fix it. If there's something major wrong, he has to buy too many components. He'll tell you what that is before he touches it.
Yep.
Breaks them down, cleans them, checks them.
Yeah.
Then, I think
they just need a cleaning and some fresh lube because they sound a little bit grindy. And I think that's just from hard, heavy use this year and not having lube in them constantly.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, yeah, they're still in good condition.
Yeah. Michael, mine, my dad's was the black one. It had plastic, and my silver one has plastic also. They both had plastic. Different. They were different knobs though. Mine has tiny little knobs. They're like, it's so hard to even fish with it because everything now has much bigger knobs. But
yeah, I like the big. It's weirdly, I don't know why, but I like the round one, the round knobs.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Reason. And I didn't think I would. I thought I'd hate them, but I have a couple of reels with the round knobs, and I like those. See, I hate I call it fuzzy, but like the EVA ones.
Yeah, I don't like the
EVA
foam.
ones.
I have some.
I don't like them.
I don't like the foam at all.
I don't like them. I like either the wind grippy ones or even the hardwood ones. I would rather have than the freaking EVA ones. I don't like the EVA ones at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
All right, boys. We're gonna call it. I don't have to work tomorrow, but these guys do, so I'm gonna probably.
Yeah, I gotta drive past Jesse's house. I gotta go way up in NEK tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Oh, hell yeah, Newport. I was in Newport today.
Let me know if you're coming through and stop on by.
Yeah, I will during the summer. Right now, it's like such a long day. Today I went to Williston first, and then all the way up to Newport.
Oh
Right.
man,
Yeah.
that is quite the haul.
Yeah, I got to go tomorrow. I got to go to a fish and game place way up somewhere right by the New Hampshire border.
Scott, the way that typically works, most rail cleaners, the way it works is you ship them to them, they'll clean them up, and then they'll ship them back to you. You don't actually have to go there. A lot of these, honestly, the good rail cleaners are usually just doing it out of their house anyway.
Yeah. So Scott, I think I spent, I want to say it was just under $40 to ship them, and I warrantied them or insurance because one of my reels was a $400 reel, and the other two were $200 reels. So I had about almost $1,000 in the bag or in the box.
Yep.
So it cost me, I think it was 30 something bucks to ship them with warranty. And then however you ship them to him, he will ship them back to you unless you tell him differently with the same warranty or same, whatever they call it, insurance, and ship it back to you. So he, it's down there. It's
Delaware Valley.
Yeah, that's it. And you just look him up on the web, and he has a little form right on his website, and you fill it out, whatever reels you want, and he sends it to you. It's pretty slick. He was really good. He called me. He took a little while. He was busy, and he told me as soon as he got them, he said, I'm busy. Do you need them right back? I said, nope. I have plenty of reels. And he said, okay. And about 2 weeks later, he reached out to me and said, I'm opening them up now. Are you good to go? I said, yep. He then messaged me, hey, everything looks good. I'm going to put them all back together and get them shipped. And then he called me and told me exactly what he did to each reel. So
Looks like DelawareValleyTackle.com.
yep, that's them.
Awesome. Cool.
That's the URL right there, Scott. So yeah, I'll be honest, most of my reels I probably won't do that with, but my DC I will for sure.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was my reels that I use every day that I love. And they're getting hard to replace some of them reels,
This is going to be a service that more people are going to want to take advantage of because, like we said earlier, tariffs and prices of components.
Yep.
Those $50 reels are going to become $80 reels real fast when stuff starts getting out of stock.
I know a couple guys that'll clean them locally, but my guy that will do them, he looked at all two of my reels, and he said you need to ship them here, and that's why I shipped them there.
Yep. Well, it sounds like that's what you really want is you want a guy that's not going to be like, hey, $40, and then I had to replace the worm gear and this and that and this, and now you owe me 120.
Right.
If the guy's like reputable and like was willing to like work with you and be like, hey, look, I need to fix this or whatever. So
Yep.
Debo's buddy. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Debo probably knows quite a few people because Debo goes through some equipment, dude. That dude buys everything.
Yeah, I got a guy that literally lives 5 minutes from me that'll clean them, and he's the one that he opened them up, and he's like, I can do it, but you need to ship them out. And he didn't charge me anything. I'm like, dude, I'll pay you. He's like, no, I didn't do anything. So.
Yeah, when you're getting into Bantams and shit too, you're talking that's a big investment to make sure that you're. For the uninitiated, in case any of you are watching this and don't understand, like what 300?
I don't know what the Bantam is now.
It's 4 now. It's $395 for a Bantam.
Yeah,
my Titanium was $429.
Yep.
Yeah.
Titanium.
And that's just the reel, guys. There's no line on that, and there's no rod. That's just the freaking reel. Like,
and I got lucky. I won that one. I won that one. So I don't own anything else that costs more than that. About $250 is the most I'll spend on most reels.
So the Titanium 150B is now $490, and then the DC is $540.
Yeah.
But
so now you understand why mailing it for $40 to have it cleaned is worth the money because
there is a way.
It costs so much better now after he did that. It's like butter.
Yeah. There is a way around it, but you lose out on the warranty, and that's if you go through a JDM site to get them. You're paying about half the price. Like right now, a regular Metanium from Digitaka is running about $250.
Yeah, Digitaka is a good site.
It is.
And now have sales.
Yeah, they do good, and the slowest I've ever received anything from them was like 4 days. So
yeah, I like to try to do it like at the shows. I try to buy some reels and stuff or through vendors I know. But I am probably going to start leaning more towards Digitaka just because I want to get that higher end reel.
Yep. I mean, that's where my Met DC came from was Digitaka.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure.
All right, guys.
The fuck did I get that?
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm looking it up right now to see. Trying to remember what the price was on that.
That's a rabbit hole I never went down is JDM stuff because I know I would end up needing a mortgage broker.
Yeah. I just have a couple reels. Like honestly, to be honest with you, when you were talking going to that BFS, in my opinion, I don't think you need to go BFS if you buy a good quality reel.
True.
If you buy a 100 series or an 80 series, good quality. Yeah. Which is what I want to get. Daiwa came out with a Tatula 80. I want that reel for that.
Yep. The Tatula 80 is nice looking.
That. Yeah, but
I have seen
the 200 and
I think it's 290 is a really awesome reel. I had that before I switched my Daiwa back to Shimano because I was running Steezes and Tatulas and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I want a Steez too because I really want to try one. My buddy tells me they're better.
I will say this: do not use a braid to leader when you're running steeds, just run straight braid or straight freaking fluoro or mono, whatever you're throwing, because that will get caught in that T-wing system.
Yeah.
T-wing, Tatula 80 on sale on Tackle Warehouse. Yeah, the freaking Tatulas are awesome.
Yeah, I love
right now
the SVs. I love the SVs. And then I
SVs
run the Michael's, you know, I run the what are they now? They're 180 or whatever. They were 150. The little 150s, they're a phenomenal little reel too. For the money and the castability, they cast like butter.
They're cheap compared to like a lot of other brands.
I'll tell you what, if you get the Tatula 200, that's like the perfect size freaking swim bait reel.
Yeah, that's what I would get if I was going straight swim bait. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't like the 300. It's too big in my hand.
It is, and the 200 is like that perfect fit, and you get just enough of like, what was it? I was throwing 20 pound, 20 pound on there, and it was like I had so much freaking line on there. It was like ridiculous, but it's also small enough to be able to palm really well, as you know, and it seems to balance well on a like a 7.9 or a 7.10.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
balance
better than Toronto 300.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's
why I switched to Daiwas, because the Tatula spinning was lighter than the CI4s.
Yeah,
dude, did Daiwa spin, and you, Chris, did that to me too. I want all my spinning reels of Daiwas now. I was trying some other ones, and it's just they're for the money.
Dude, I gave my wife an Arity. That thing is so fucking light. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's butter ass smooth too. I think I actually think the Arity is lighter than the Exist.
I think it is.
Depending on what size you get.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So
all right, so we will be back after the new year, guys. I'm gonna try to get some ice fishing content out, so be on the lookout for that. Because I know we talk about it every episode, even though that's not the topic. Maybe we'll have a topic of ice fishing, and then we'll talk about baits or something else entirely.
You should probably do that just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. But we're gonna end it right here, guys. We will see you after the holiday. We're gonna let everybody enjoy their holidays and do all that, because everybody's gonna be traveling, and it's just not worth doing episodes during those weeks. So hopefully we'll have lots to talk about. Maybe I'll have hooked up with Chris and fished with him on the holiday, because that's the goal.
Give it a shot for sure.
We'll see if that happens. But I want to thank you guys that have been watching. We've been getting a lot of viewership on the podcast lately, and honestly more than even some of my other videos. So if you guys think of a topic, again, we're going to do it one more time. If you guys think of a topic, put it down in the comments of the video. We will give you free stuff. I will mail you out some baits from our own personal stores, and recognize that it was your idea, because we're running out of ideas already. So, but yeah, guys, we're gonna see you guys in a couple of weeks. We're gonna end this one right here, and I am gonna go to bed so I can get up and go poke holes in ice and hopefully not go swimming. So that's the plan. We will see you guys.